Hey, this is Hammer reporting on a 2,400 point league game I had 2 to 3 months ago using my old Heavens list. So I've had hardly any time to play any games or do any reports, but I thought I'd take a break and just throw this one up this Sunday. So these are the spells I rolled for this game. No comment, unfortunately. And on deployment, bottom right, I have 12 Knights of the Realm, full command. 8 Knights of the Realm, proxied by my Grail Knights there with my Heroic Killing Blow General and Standard of Discipline. And I got 10 Knights of the Realm with my BSB, who has a Virtue of Duty. Another 80 point Paladin there with a Lance, and there's a Warbanner in that unit. Got a unit of Fast Cav, 10 Bowmen in the building, 11 Knights Errant with the Errantry Banner with my level 4 of Heavens, Crown of Command. Trebuchet, 3 Peg Knights, another Trebuchet, and then the far end of the board, 12 Bowmen. So on my opponent's side, he's got 4 Coldbone Riders with a hero level character. He's got always strikes first, and he's strength 5, I believe. A unit of Sword Spearmen, second unit of Sword Spearmen. I think both of those had command. And he's got an ethereal Slan of life that can generate an extra power dice for each spell, and he's also a BSB. So towards the center, we've got 3 Pterodon Riders, Engine of the Gods with a Priest of Heavens, level 1, and he rolled the Comet this game. We've got 10 Skink Skirmishers, a Salamander. More towards the left, we've got another Salamander, and a big unit of Skinks and Croxagore at the very far left. So going back to this picture, you can see this time I did a true weighted flank on the right side of the board. A couple people had been suggesting that to me, so figured I'd give it a shot just for fun. So I kind of feigned my deployment on the left, dropped some Peg Knights and Bowmen, and luckily he bit and dropped that big Scrox unit, which I was very pleased about. So definitely have an advantage here with more of my army on the right side of the board versus less of his. So those Scrox are going to be out of the game for a little while. On the Vanguard, he moves his Pterodon Riders up, and his Scouts, his Chameleon Skinks deploy behind that wall. In response, I drop my Peg Knights back with my Vanguard to protect my Trebuchet so those Pterodons can't just fly right over them. And I mounted Yeoman Vanguard here, just out of the charge arc of those Pterodons. So Lizard's turn 1. Lizard's movements on the right side. Just moves up. That center block of Source Warriors got +2 or +4 toughness put on them in the magic phase. See, towards the center, moves up as you can see, trying to pick off my Peg Knights or the Salamanders and Skinks. On the left side, so he continued to move his Skinks and Crocs units forward down towards my Trebuchet and Bowman, which I was very pleased with. Yeah, I really didn't want him crashing towards the center of the board, which could cause problems for me later. So I'm glad that unit is for the most part out of the game. So here's a view after Lizard's turn 1. So shooting, so he had jumped his Chameleon Skinks forward. He shot at my Trebuchet, killed a peasant, and made it panic. So now it can't fire on my next turn. Going to Brett turn 1, I make this charge with my Knights Errant against the Engine of the Gods. I was feeling very confident about this one because coming in at strength 6 with the Errantry Banner, I'm immune to psychology, so I won't have to worry about his terror. And yeah, hoping to crush this thing and overrun into that Salamander. Also charged my pegs against his Pterodon Riders there. There should be more of them, but the other two just wouldn't fit with the wings. So here are my other movements. I jumped my mounted yeoman up there to redirect his fast movers, and move my knight units underneath that. Shooting, you drop a rock directly on the salamander's head, but roll 1 wound on my d6, which was unfortunate. And after close combat here, yeah, kind of disappointed. I was really hoping to kill this thing outright, but I didn't. Still, won combat by a bunch. Figured I'd just run him down. But it was at this point that I learned that this thing is stubborn, which I didn't know. So, yeah, big problem. I'm going to get flank charge, and it's going to turn into a big grind fest in the middle. Let's see, with the Peg Knights, I actually did kill 2 pterodons, and just 1 remaining that stuck around somehow. And so here's how it looks at the end of Brett turn 1. So Lizard's turn 2, he charges my flank with his Sword of Spears, as expected. I was hoping he'd charge with both units, but he didn't take the bait. He knew I was stubborn, and if he had done that, on my next turn, I would just charge all the way down his lines. So as expected, his Cold One Riders charge my fast cav, get him out of the way. Moves his Chameleon Skinks forward. Moves his Salamander more towards the center of the battle. On the very far left, he continues to move toward my Trebuchet and Bowman with his Scrox unit. In his magic phase, his level 1 manages to get off the comet right here in the middle of all my knights. So I think he threw like 4 dice at it with his level 1. I threw an equal number and failed to dispel this thing with my level 4. So poor decision on my part. Given the devastating nature of this spell, I should have thrown at least 5, probably. Yeah, if there's a way to punish a weighted flank of knights, the comet is definitely it. So also in his magic phase, his level 4 casts Awakening of the Wood, which hits at strength 6 when Throne is up. So pretty devastating for such a cheap spell. Killing 4 knights there. He put Flesh to Stone on this Stegodon. Not sure why he did that, because now that I don't get my lance bonus, I'm going to be wounding him on 6s regardless. But also he uses his lore attribute to heal this what is it called? Engine of the Gods, yeah. I really like how those things sync up too. Having a stubborn monster, multi-wound monster with the lore attribute seems very powerful. Let's see over here. He continues to kill my peasants on the trebuchet, so yeah, they're not going to be shooting for a while. And this is just showing in his shooting phase, his Salamander takes off another knight. After close combat, Cold One Riders kill my fast cav and reform, as you can see. My Pegasus Knights clear out his Pterodons and reform. And in the big center combat, I only lose 1 knight, so rolled pretty well for my saves, which was great. And I don't even know if I lost it from combat. So the Engine of the Gods apparently has some kind of like strength 4 or 5, 2d6 thing that goes off every magic phase, I believe, with no armor saves allowed, so really nasty. But he only managed to kill 1 knight, so I felt fortunate. And that's how things look at the end of Lizard turn 2. So on Brett turn 2, I make these obvious charges, as you can see. I aligned my BSB's unit as far to the left as possible while still maxing models, in the hopes that I could clip his Saurus unit in the center and help out with that combat, but I just couldn't get over far enough. It's still possible if I roll very high in my overrun to get in with his Slann, but I have no magic weapons in that unit, so all I have is combat res to help me out. Ultimately, I want to get my heroic Killing Blow General in with the Slann because he's got a magic weapon and heroic Killing Blow, so it would be a very favorable matchup for me. So also towards the center, charge my Peg Knights into the flank of this Salamander. See, it's just another view from the side. Drop a rock on all these chameleon skinks and kill them to a man, which was great. Haven't mentioned my magic because I don't think I got a single spell off. Maybe one towards the end of the game, but my magic was very ineffective. So in this close combat, definitely a favorable one for me. I get 5 wounds through, and he needs to make 5 4-ups, but he makes all of them. So, yeah, disaster. But, even though he cleans up my champion, I still win from pure combat res, and he breaks, but I don't run him down. So in the key combat in the center, my BSB and Generals unit crushed through those Saurus, and my BSB roll an 11 on their pursuit and pursue right into the Slann. So actually ends up being pretty favorable for me because I wasn't really thinking about it, but I got a charge, a rank, a banner, a BSB, a war banner, and a virtue of duty. So the BSBs cancel out, so he's going to be on a 5 rerollable, which is easily failable. So feeling fairly good about this at this point. See my Peg Knights clean up the Salamander, and my Prophetess unit continues to get ground down a bit. So on Lizard's turn 3, this Croc unit gets in with my Trebuchet. Over here, his Cold One Riders rally, and my Knight of the Realm unit is diminished there because on my turn 2 we forgot to roll for the Comet. Both of us just completely forgot about it, so decided to roll off on his turn 3, see if it went down. It did, and then rolled out the damage for all the Knight units that it would have hit. So cut this unit in half. Took a couple off my Generals unit and my BSB's unit as well. Yeah, I know in a tournament you can't go back in time and do stuff like this, but you know, for a friendly game, it just seemed reasonable. It seemed like this would be a more accurate depiction of how the battle should have gone. So over here, his Salamander shot at my Trebuchet and failed to wound it. So just that one peasant cowering behind this war machine. So his magic phase, nothing big. Close combat, yeah. So my BSB's unit with all its combat res beat and ran down his Slann, his ethereal Slann. So that was a huge pickup for me. Definitely set up for success now. See, in the center combat, keep grinding it out. So on Brett turn 3, I charge his Cold One Riders with the remainder of my Knights of the Realm unit on the right side of the board. So towards the center, my pictures must be out of order or something. In his magic phase, last time, the ignore armor save thing from the Engine of the Gods killed more Knights, and it freed up enough room for my Peg Knights to charge into the front of the Saurus. Took my General into the flank and reformed my BSB's unit. So shooting and close and magic were insignificant. Over here, Knights of the Realm take down 2 Cold One Riders. He takes down 2 of my Knights as well. So fair trade. Most of the damage was done by his hero with his rerollable strength 5. And in the center combat, yeah, Saurus unit gets crushed and ran down. My general's unit overruns and is in good position for an easy flank charge next turn. So I don't have many pictures of Lizard's turn 4, but previously this unit had killed a trebuchet and they reformed, and on his turn 4 he charged and killed my bowman unit over there. So on my turn 3, my trebuchet had finally turned around, and on his turn 4 he charged and killed the poor cowering peasant. So it's showing my units up here before the magic phase. Guess I had gotten harmonic convergence off on my turn 3. And this is after his burning 2d6 no armor save thing went off, so totally reduced my level 4's unit. Now she's in trouble in close combat. Crushed the rest of my BSB's unit and my Knight of the Realm unit with General, so that thing is nasty. Yeah, for my own future reference, I got a hero killing blow this thing immediately. And over here on the Grindfest, yeah, Knight's still holding on. Killed another cold one, I believe, but we all stuck around. Brett turn 4. So as usual, towards the end of the game, my picture-taking abilities were diminished significantly. But basically, last turn, he also got Comet off on his magic phase, as you can see it. Yeah, we rolled for it, it went off on my turn, and yeah, you can pretty much see the result. Killed my remaining champion on my BSB's unit, so we got full points for that unit. Killed more Knights of the Realm with my general. I think he killed my yeah, I think the Comet actually was responsible for my Prophetess and my champion's death in that unit. It also hit his own Stegodon for 4 wounds, so between the damn Stegodon with its Engine of the Gods armor-piercing crap and the Comet from the Priest on top, this thing like soloed the core of my army, so just nasty. I'm gonna treb the crap out of this thing if I see it again. But I did manage to win combat and run him down with my general's unit, so finally got that thing off the board at great cost.
Mega kill.
My last 3 Knights of the Realm with their strength 3 attacks performed as true champions and ran down the hero level character with his unit. So, decent pickup there. So on Lizard's turn 5, he burns my archers out of the house, and they run off the board by the end of the game. Other than that, he keeps moving his Scrocs forward towards the center to try to get into some meaningful combat. So, towards the center, my general and his knights decide that the Skinks and Kruxgor are unworthy of their attention. So, they tactically move to the rear, honorably, of course. See, I turn these guys around. There's nothing within charge range. So, Lizard's turn 6. The jungle comes alive and chases after my knights. So, yeah, throw their darts, but it's nothing but a mere annoyance to my knights. You know, again, they're unworthy of my attention. And so, this is how it looks at the end of the game. We keep moving tactically to the rear, honorably, and that's how it ends. So I ended up taking the victory on this one. I don't remember by how many points, but yeah, it doesn't really matter. So clearly I was playing to win, given that this is a league game, and didn't want to charge my general's unit into his Scrocs. But good to get a win against Lizardmen, because I consider them to be a very tough matchup for Bretonnians. Really, this victory was a result of his Crocs unit being out of meaningful combat. So, even with my weighted flank considered, he nearly wiped out my whole army. I mean, my knights, my knight units at the end of the game were bare bones to save those points. So even with his missed deployment, if he had moved them towards the middle from turn one, by the end of the game, he would have gotten into a meaningful combat and likely killed my general BSB's unit or both. But lesson learned to him. He's an even newer player than I am, so yeah, he definitely realized his mistake after the game. But yep, it was good to get the win. So this was the last league game I got to play because I just completely ran out of time, so I couldn't finish the league. But um, had fun playing this list. Enjoyed Lore of Heavens, though probably would be better to go back to Lore of Life. It's kind of fun to play a speed list. Even though I love variety and having peasant anvils, this was still fun also. I think I might drop the 2 bowman units and take a second unit of fast cav for more redirection, and then throw the extra points on knights or items or something like that. If I ever play 2400 in the future. But I have one more game to report on against Ogre Wargaming. We had a nice 3K game. Pretty interesting, fun game. And then I just came back from the Adepticon 3K tournament, which was my very first official tournament / gaming convention, and really enjoyed it. So I have a lot to say about that. And also a whole bunch of model updates too that I made before the tournament. So yeah, I haven't reported anything in a while, but got a couple more updates coming soon. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed.